let me show you how to make equations in Excel. I love Excel. You're gonna love it. On question 3, which is where you're at right now, it asks you to develop a calculator to apply temperature and pressure and density equations in Excel. So that's what you're watching right now, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So this is sort of a screenshot of how it will look when you're done, and we're going to go to Excel and we're going to kind of try to match that. So I need to type in input and then looks like altitude. So we're going to start just by doing a bold and typing in input. And I'm going to slide over here and type in altitude. And then I had the other one was output and temperature, pressure, and density. So you have to actually input the altitude. That's a given that we need to know. Based off the equations that you have for temperature, temperature depends on the height or the altitude. Pressure depends on temperature, and density depends on pressure. So if we have our temperature formula, and over here it says to actually type in the formula. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do another bold and type in formula. From your notes, you should have the formulas for temperature, pressure, and density. So I'm going to put those in. I have my formulas typed in, so nice and beautiful. This is kind of the trickiest piece right here, is typing these in correctly. If you look at your temperature formula, it's 15.04 minus this number times H. This really needs to have a multiplication sign there, that shift 8, that little star there. Otherwise, it won't work in our formulas later on. So I'm going to add that into there. You see that I do have it in, I'm looking up here in the formula bar. I have it 101.29 times, and this is a huge chunk of data here. So T plus 273.1 is in parentheses because that's all divided by 288.08. And then that whole thing is to the power of 5.256. I think I may have put one extra set of parentheses in there, but that should work. And then density, I don't have a symbol for that, so I put that as P, or den equals P divided by, and then these. And again, you have to have this multiplication symbol in here, otherwise it won't work. So I also added my equal signs because I like equals. I'm going to right justify this one so that they're all kind of lined up. So again, I just clicked B and I clicked this right justify piece here, or align right. And now, in order to actually apply these formulas, I'm going to click on the temperature equals. I'm going to actually copy this first. So just starting with the numbers, and I'm going to hit Control C to copy that. And I'm going to type equals, and then up here, I'm going to do Control V to paste this. Now, this H is not an H anymore. We have to actually input this value. So I'm going to hit backspace to delete that. And I'm going to click this cell. So whatever value I put in for here, that will be my altitude or my height. So let me hit enter to submit that. And if I have an altitude of 1,000 meters, then it gives me my temperature right here. If I change that to 1,200 meters, it updates my temperature. Isn't that awesome? It's awesome. So I don't have to do any of that work. Every time I change my height, it automatically adjusts my temperature. Now we can do the same thing for pressure. I know this is getting really exciting. All right, so let's copy this thing here. Copy, and you can see to the power of is that little caret, that little, it's a shift 6. I'm going to Control C to copy this. Again, please pause this if it's freaking you out and it's too much, and rewatch it. I hit equals, because you always have to have an equal sign in there if you're doing a formula, and then I do Control V. But this time, instead of T, which cell represents temperature? So I'm going to backspace that and click here. So that's actually a C5 now. And then I'll hit enter. And there is a problem here. So it looks like I have one extra set of, of parentheses on the right side, because I have a close here. These purples match, the reds match, the blacks match. I have this extra one here. So that's what the error was about. And I hit enter, and now I'm getting that value there. And then for density, let me copy this density equation. And density relates to pressure and temperature. I think I might have misspoke the first time I said that, but we'll say equals and paste that in there. But now instead of pressure, I'm going to click this cell. And instead of temperature, I'm going to click this cell so you can see it replace those. You could actually just type in the letter and the number that correspond to those cells too. That works just fine. And hit enter. So now I have a value there. So now let's compare this to the assignment and put in 4,552, and that'll be our check. So 4,552, and I should get minus 14.5, and it looks like that. I can change these so I only have 2 decimals, so I'm just going to select only these cells this time and decrease the decimal to just 2, and that'll match my other data a little bit better. So I have minus 14.5, and I wanted this to be in Celsius, so I'm just going to type a C. Pressure, I wanted in, the units for that were kilopascals. I'm not sure how to get that degree sign to work on this computer, but kilopascals. And then density is kilograms per cubic meter. And let's compare our numbers, 57.43 and 0.077. And those look good, although it looks like having a few more decimals for density might be helpful, so I'll just increase that one back. And now this formula works for any values that we have. So if you want to add some color to it, you can just click the cells and you can change the font color, you can change the fill color in the background. So that's sort of how they did that green, and they made this one yellow. And now it really matches what we have here, except for these units. We have meters there. So that should be all you need for this last question on the assignment.